On the dollar, we're going to be taking a look at technical analysis and price predictions for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple. We'll look at Satoshi pairings and compare them to USD pairings as well. We're seeing some really interesting stuff with total market capitalization breakthroughs on the volume chart. We're going to talk a little bit about why that might be a huge indicator of a bull market coming very soon. If you guys are not a part of our premium signals Discord group, we've had a ton of amazing testimonials. I'll put some up on the screen right now. Some of our members making 20% in 24 hours on some of our trade signals for cryptocurrencies and Forex. The link is in the description below if you guys are not a part of that. But we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin's technical analysis here. As you can see, we're hitting this minor resistance level, but I don't necessarily see this as a resistance for too long. I see this first target coming really soon here, right around that 42.50 mark. And if you guys are a part of our Discord, you saw Brandon Walker, one of our other analysts, also predict this to be the next target. So if you guys are looking to get those longs in, what's interesting, if we were to pull up this 4-hour chart, you can see we're trending up right now. We've got this beautiful triangle forming here. We've got this ascending support level, and we're going right back towards that resistance level with a lot more speed, a lot more momentum, and more buyers coming in here with a strong amount of buy volume. Very, very, very good here for Bitcoin in the near-term future. That second target's going to be right around that 4,500 mark, and that's probably going to be within the next week or two. So you can see here with the MACD as well, we've got some strong buyer pressure. We've got this ascending resistance here as well. That's very positive here for Bitcoin. Now, if we look at this RSI, what's interesting here is we're not overbought yet on the USD pairing, and so this, in my opinion, is very, very positive in regards to seeing these two targets being achieved sometime in the near future, being the fact that now we're just starting to enter over that 70 mark and we're getting into this overbought territory. However, Bitcoin can very well probably stay up here, kind of like Ethereum. We'll talk about that in just a sec before seeing any further downside. If we look at Ethereum on the dollar, you can actually probably see something very similar here. So you can see we already went into that overbought level, but now we're starting to bounce, and that's exactly what we predicted if you guys have been keeping up with our videos. By the way, like this video if you guys haven't already. It really helps our channel, and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and that's definitely going to be helping out. We are super excited to announce a lot of new things as well for our premium group. So for those of you in our premium group, the link is in the description once again. We've had some amazing results with our altcoin signals. I'm telling you, the season is coming back. I want to actually talk about the total market capitalization chart before we get into this technical analysis, just so you guys have an idea of what's happening here. So you can see with total market capitalization, why I'm excited about the altcoin season coming soon, in my opinion, is the fact that we've broke this major resistance level here as well with this total market capitalization of cryptocurrencies. And so if you look at this RSI here, we are starting to get into that overbought range, but just as we discussed with Bitcoin, I wouldn't be surprised for us to stay here for quite a while, being the fact that we've just got so much volume coming in. And this right here is really the breakthrough that I'm talking about, and what I mentioned earlier. It's the amount of volume that we're starting to see. This is significant amounts of buyer volume, and we're starting to see transactions per day with Bitcoin at all-time highs. If you guys have been keeping track of that, I can't pull it up on this chart, but I looked at the transactions per day, and we're still above that 300,000 transactions per day level, which is exactly where we were at when Bitcoin saw that $20,000 level. So to move on into that Ethereum to US dollar chart, this is actually a really interesting chart as well, because we're seeing some really good movement here with Ethereum. This was actually one of our 20% calls that one of our members took advantage of. Actually, many of our members have. Most of them just don't talk, they just take advantage of it. But I get a ton of private messages as well about a lot of members making a ton of profits with our signals here. You can see, in my opinion, we're still going to see some further upside over the next few days, possibly hit towards that $165 level. I actually adjusted this target from our last video. I had it a little bit higher around that 180, but I am going to be dropping that down here to around 165 before I expect any sort of a pullback. The reason I say that is you can see with this RSI, as we talked about before, we've been above that overbought level for a little bit longer than we have with some of these other cryptocurrencies. And so, you know, we've seen a good amount of buyer pressure here. We're reaching these peak levels here in regards to the histogram on the MACD. And in my opinion, you know, we've got this long-standing support level that was forming here with the MACD, and I wouldn't be surprised for us to start pulling back sometime soon. And so, in my opinion, we'll hit that target and then see maybe a little bit of resistance there and some consolidation. The ideal thing to see is for us to find some support like right around here, and for us to channel in to this little area so that we can build a little bit more momentum, get some more volume to then break through here into this next zone, which would be exciting because now we're going to get back towards that $200 mark. And if Ethereum can get back to those $200 levels, that's going to be a very positive thing for this market. And so looking at XRP on the dollar, we're not necessarily seeing too much action. And it's interesting because we've talked about this in our live streams over the last few days in our videos. We've talked about Ripple not really being a coin that is, I'm expecting much action where we've got strong resistance here with the 50-day moving average, the 100-day moving average. You can see here as well, we're approaching a resistance with this RSI. We've been watching the 60 level. We haven't yet broken past that. Yes, we have a little bit of buyer pressure here, but not enough, in my opinion, to drive this price action forward. And so we're really in a weird point here. If we look at XRP against BTC as well, due to the lack of USD action, we're also seeing Satoshi value starting to drop. And so that's something that I talked to you guys about in several live streams ago. I said, there was a huge bearish divergence here. The RSI was completely bearish under 40. And so in my opinion, I saw Ripple heading towards this major support of around 7,354 Satoshis. And so that's still what I'm expecting here for Ripple. Not much has changed here. And to move on here into the Ethereum to Bitcoin Satoshi chart here. This is a very, very interesting chart here. So this is where I see more opportunity in regards to Ethereum to the US dollar or the Bitcoin to the US dollar pairing. I see the best opportunity here in the Ethereum to Bitcoin pairing. And why I say that is not only did we have that golden cross, but we've broke this major resistance. So now we're starting to head up towards the second target here, 4.1 million Satoshis, where we're currently at right around that 3.7 million Satoshi mark. And so looking at this RSI as well, you can see we've tended to stay at these higher levels once they were reached. And you can see here as well, we've stayed up here for quite a while. And so we've just started this level. And so I wouldn't be surprised for us to stay up here for a little bit and see some really good price action to this upside. And so once we start to trend up like that, that's going to be a huge, huge feat for this Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, because now Ethereum is going to start to get back to these higher Satoshi levels so we can eventually see if we can head back towards that 10 million Satoshi mark, which would be a huge, huge, huge feat for Ethereum. And so I'm looking at some really interesting things here over the next couple of weeks, and I'm expecting for some good things to happen here on the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart. Now, to move into Bitcoin technical analysis, I want to talk a little bit about this because some of you guys have talked about these altcoins, and we're starting to see Bitcoin's dominance drop a little bit. And what's interesting about that is we're also starting to see some altcoins gain some momentum. And so we've seen some amazing gains with some altcoins over the recent days. If we pull up this chart here with 0x against this Bitcoin chart, I want you guys to pay attention to these patterns. And so this is a chart that I was looking at, and this is the type of pattern that I like to see with altcoins before getting into them and sending out signals, because sometimes you see these huge, huge gains. You can see here we had this huge, this is a 300% total gain here in Satoshi value. And so what is interesting is you'll see these altcoins form these descending triangles or these pennants, depending on how you look at them. And if you draw that out, you can see how these form. And what's interesting about the formation of these is there's always typically a breakout to the upside, especially right now in this season where we're starting to see all of these previous support levels met once again. And so you can see here, we're heading towards that support level. And so, I saw this recent article saying it's altcoin season coming back. Summer is back for cryptocurrencies. And I think that's interesting because we are in an interesting time now where we're seeing these altcoins reach the end of these pennants into these apex zones and just start to break out with 20-30% gains, right? And so it's going to be really interesting to watch some of these coins as time progresses, being the fact that a lot of these altcoins are coming back to fruition. And so that's pretty much all we have for today. One other coin here that actually recently did something similar. You can see we formed that pennant formation, broke out to the upside, is the BNB coin. This is something I'm going to be watching as well over the next few videos, so stay tuned. We're seeing these new highs. These are new all-time highs, and so there could be some huge potential for this coin over the near future. And so it's going to be interesting to watch the Binance coin. And other than that, I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on the most anticipated altcoin coming into this new summer season. And do you guys believe that we're heading into this new cryptocurrency summer where we're going to start to see these altcoins break out to the upside? And so thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And with that being said, I am out. Thank you all for watching. Take care and have a